Okay, if you're in year 9 and you've got an assessment on networks, or if you're doing GCSE computer science, then this video is for you, so keep watching. What is a network? Well, it's 2 or more computing devices connected together to share resources. That could be files, that could be printers. You need various hardware to set up a network. The top picture there, you've got the switch, and that enables multiple wired devices to connect on the network. And basically every computer in your computer room at school will be connected to a switch, and then messages can be passed around the network by the switch. You've got the modem, which converts data from analog to digital signals. A little bit old school this, it's like when you had dial-up internet and it used to connect to a phone line. You've then got the network interface card. These slot into the back of a computer and they allow connection between a computer and other devices on the network. Below that, you've got the picture with the little antenna on it, and that's a wireless network interface card, which is quite similar, but it uses radio signals to connect to the network. You've got the router, or the router, as they call it in America, and that moves data from one network to another. That allows your network to connect to the internet, which is a bigger network. And you've got a wireless access point, which you can say connect a laptop to, and then that will be connected to the switch, and that will be connected to the router, and then that connects you to the internet. Good things about networks: you can share devices and files, you can work collaboratively on documents, you can connect with other people in other countries, you can store data centrally, so that might be on a server where all your files are stored, and then it means you can access that from any computer on the network. Disadvantages: networking equipment, it is a little bit expensive. Viruses can spread from one computer to another. Hacking is a little bit more likely. It's also complicated to manage a network, and usually you have to employ staff to do that job, so it can get expensive. Now, each device on a network has a unique address so that the switch knows where to send information. That unique address is called a MAC address, and it identifies every single computer network, or every single device on the network. 3 different types of cable you can use. Ethernet cable, very popular, cheap, but it has slower transmission speed than, say, fibre optic at the bottom there, and that is for fast transmission, but it is the most expensive cable. Then you have coaxial, which is copper. It's faster than Ethernet and it's cheaper than fibre optic, but most networks now use fibre optic to pass information between devices. Advantages of wired networks: well, they're faster than wireless networks. They're actually less prone to interference, like walls and floors and stuff, like your Wi-Fi, for example, can easily get interference. It's harder to intercept data being transmitted because you don't have that risk of someone, a man-in-the-middle attack. It's expensive to lay cable. It can be difficult to get cable to all locations required though on a network. They do require lots of switches, and obviously they're not really suitable for mobile devices. Good things about wireless: it's very easy to connect more devices. You've got a wireless network at your house and your friends come round, you can easily get them to connect to the network. You don't require loads of equipment and switches, quicker to install, but obviously disadvantages of wired networks are sometimes the range, and these are affected by interference, and you've also got a little security issue as well, where signals and data can be intercepted on the network. These are the 3 types of networks you need to be aware of. PAN, personal area network, literally for you, say laptop, AirPods, phone, personal network, PAN, PAN. Then you've got a LAN, which means local area network. This is usually a network where the devices are connected together in the same building. It does not have to be connected to the internet though. Then you've got a WAN, which is a wide area network, and that spans across a large geographical area, and a WAN is lots of LANs connected together. The internet's an example of a WAN. We have different network topologies and the advantages and disadvantages of each one, and you can see what they are here. Bus, very cheap, because as you can see with the bus network, there's just like one main cable. However, that's a bad thing because there's a single point of failure. So if that cable breaks on the bus network, then the whole network goes down. Not very popular. Then you have a ring, which performs better than the bus topology, and there's no need for like a network server in the middle, but it's not very secure because every device on that ring will see the message that's been sent. Another thing is, if one device breaks, the whole network breaks, and if one device is slow, then it makes the whole network slow, because if you think that the device is passing messages and it's a little bit slow, it's going to take more time. Then you have the star network topology, which is there, and you can see that it's got a central server in the middle and all the devices connect to it. Good thing is you can easily add more devices to that network. If one of those devices breaks, the rest of the network will be fine, no issues there. However, the biggest thing with this one is if the central server breaks, then the network will go down, and it requires lots more cables. Then you can see the final one at the bottom there, that's a mesh network, and you can see that every device is connected to every other device, which means if it's a busy network, then the data packets can go any route and it works well under heavy load. Another bad thing though about this one, or a bad thing, it's pretty expensive, because look how many cables you would need. Well, I mentioned data packets when I just spoke about passing those messages around the network, and basically, say you send a picture to someone, it's broken up into tiny packets, okay? And when they're going around a network, we call that packet switching. Now, performance of a network can be affected by a few things. Firstly, if there's more devices on a network, then the network can become slow. The bandwidth of the transmission medium, so how much bandwidth is on the network, what the type of network traffic is, so if someone's sending a video to another person on the network and it's quite a big file, it might take longer. Latency, which is essentially the number of seconds or milliseconds it takes to get one message from one device to another. And transmission errors, so that's like collisions of the packets, and they can all affect the performance of a network. Finally, we have the process of packet switching and how it actually works. So this is something that you might need to be aware of. Essentially, you've got one message, it's broken down into smaller packets. Each packet's given a header, and it includes the sender's IP, recipient's IP, packet size, protocols, and then that means that at the other end, the packet can be reassembled in the correct order. So the packet's secured to prevent unauthorized access, and they're basically sent around the network using the quickest route. I'm on number 5 now. Once the packets arrive at the destination, the TCP IP protocol puts the packets in order. If any are missing, it requests them back. And once all the packets have safely arrived without errors, a message will be sent back to the original computer to confirm they've all been received. So that's packet switching. You might need to pause and read that again if you want. We just spoke earlier about bandwidth, latency, and transmission error, but they're the 3 things that can affect the performance of a network. And as you can see at the bottom there, we've got some security threats as well. So what can happen to a network, make it dangerous? We have malware. So that's software designed to cause harm to a computer. Malware actually stands for malicious software. We've then got phishing, which is using email to gain personal information about someone. So you might have a link that looks pretty genuine, asks you to log into your online account. Once you do, you get to a fake page, you put your email and password in, and that goes through to some hackers. Then you've got a man-in-the-middle attack, which is when somebody positions themselves in a conversation between a user and their application. And the final thing we need to talk about is cloud. So storing data at a remote location online is known as cloud storage, so basically, you store a file. You can either store it on your own computer or you can store it in the cloud. And all it is the cloud is a big warehouse somewhere with lots of file servers where your file is stored, and you use the internet to access that warehouse to get your file. And the technical term is a data farm. You can access the data anywhere with an internet connection. Business run the cloud network manages backups and security. So if that's iCloud or OneDrive, they're making sure your data is safe. And if you want more storage, you can add more storage, but there's usually a cost for that. I think one of the biggest disadvantages is you can't access files without an internet connection. Obviously, you're relying on the other people to protect your files and data, and you're relying on the other companies to back your data up. Okay. final thing, it's a long one, this, isn't it? Network protection methods. Firewall, that literally stops incoming and outgoing traffic. To monitor it, it's like a bit of a security guard for your network. You'd be like, oh, that's a dangerous website, you're not coming in. You've got antivirus software, which basically scans your whole computer and then it detects any viruses and removes them. And then one of the best things that you can do to protect a network is use secure passwords. That is everything that I can tell you at the moment about networks. Now, if you want useful stuff like this in the future, please remember to like, follow, or subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Cheers.